Helen Keller said, "So much has been given to me, I have not time to ponder over that which has been denied." When I first read that quote, I felt so inferior to my sister Alabamian, which meant I really wanted to punch her for being such a Mother Teresa goody-goody and making me feel so bad about my own inner whining. How could a woman who didn't have sight or hearing, things that I'm able to take for granted every day, be so positive? I decided I should endeavor to be more like Helen. So I started trying to practice gratitude for the blessings I have and stop focusing on the things I don't. Then I found out I had cancer, and the universe made it really easy for me to do that. For several years before my diagnosis, I had asked Santa for two things: a husband and the remote-controlled, LED-illuminated, musical, porcelain Elvis Presley Graceland Snow Village as seen in Kmart seasonally. Santa showed up early that year and brought me cancer instead. On December 13th, 2011, I learned that my right breast was busying herself with plans of a murderous coup. Given my past dating record, I guess I can kind of understand mistaking cancer for a husband. But it seemed I was just plain passed over yet again on the Graceland Snow Village. Damn it, Santa. I felt like a hypochondriac when I went to the doctor with boob pain less than a week after attending the October breast cancer walk, like I had done caught the cancer in the fever of pink festivities. Honestly, I decided to go to the doctor because there was a meeting at work I was expected to attend, and I would rather have crawled across broken glass naked before swimming in a pool of rubbing alcohol than attend that joyful corporate fun. My general practitioner assured me the painful lump was not my imagination, but she also promised me it wasn't cancer. She was actually correct on both assertions. She sent me for a mammogram just so we'd have a future baseline. A little dot was spotted on my boob's modeling debut that the doctor didn't like. 3 biopsies followed, including one featuring the mammogram-assisted insertion of a wire to that damned spot, prompting visions of Joan Crawford dancing in my head with bouquets of wire coat hangers. The pain was related to a benign fibroid, harmless as promised. 2 months after my doctor visit, I learned a 7-millimeter invasive ductal carcinoma with an enhanced modifier of triple negative was hiding behind the harmless fibroid. Can I get fries with that? It was really, really small, but it was just big enough to get to take chemo. Yes. Finding that tumor at such an early stage can only have been a miracle. If not for that random pain right after I picked up a flyer at the cancer walk that instructed me to see my doctor for such, who knows when the little bastard would have made himself known. That serendipity was accompanied by other random coincidences that assured me my journey was beautifully orchestrated long before I was diagnosed, and the entire way through was paved with more good things than I can count. My curious and sudden love of the color pink, my abrupt drive to reach out to a high school teacher who herself was recovering from breast cancer to provide love and support, not knowing I was making an investment which would pay a wealth of dividends in the support she would later provide back to me. These things served as proof to me that some force knew me, loved me, and had prepared for my comfort and endurance as I faced the difficult year of treatment. Looking back, I saw each step I had taken, those that seemed random and haphazard at the time of the stepping, was part of a perfected journey, divinely orchestrated to give me all the strength I needed to face the big sea, pressed down, packed together, and poured to overflowing into my soul. In Romans 8:28, we are told, And we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. All things. The writer of the verse does not discriminate, define, qualify, or differentiate. Those of faith know those words convey with exacting precision and accurate perfection the truth of our God. Our God who sits at the great cosmic loom and weaves the golden thread of each life into a stunning tapestry, connecting each of us in ways we are seldom able to understand except in the rearview mirror of our experience. During difficult times, it is so easy to dismiss this verse as fiction or to believe it is meant for those more pious, good, or faithful than us. How could a cancer diagnosis be thread in the same loom woven into the tapestry by our great Creator? While the journey seemed to challenge the veracity of that verse, it was my own experience that I was better able to see God's hand during that time than at other more so-called happy times of my life. Throughout my illness, my sweet little daddy called me every day. Before I got sick, his no-nonsense prudence prevented him from emphatically showing me he loved me. It was his job to train me for a future without him, and in many ways, he seemed to believe he was the drill sergeant of my life. He had to keep after me constantly, or I'd go completely off course and join a tribe of bank-robbing, elephant-riding, patchouli-smelling hippies in the South Pacific. But when I faced an illness that threatened my life, it quickly became undeniable that my father cherished me just as much as I loved him. As the child of adoption and later divorce, my relationship with my father was one of the few beacons of stability, one of the few places my world felt like solid earth rather than shifting sand. During my treatment, I recall bargaining with God that I would take every single chemo treatment twice if my daddy never had to. I didn't know then that the year I spent fighting cancer would simultaneously be the last year I spent with daddy. 2,592 hours, which I rounded for convenience, after the last surgery, which had followed 4 other surgeries and 6 months of chemo during Cancer Palooza 2012, my father made his trip up to heaven, completely unexpectedly. Blindsided, just as I was finding my new normal as a cancer survivor, he didn't even wait till my weird chemo curls stopped looking like Bozo for the funeral receiving line. I had long dreaded that day with fear it would be my complete undoing. The beginning of white walls, straight jackets, and med carts with Jell-O chasers. My closest, in some senses only family, was gone and me left here alone. I wish for 1 million more moments to just say one more thing to my father, but I believe God took perfect care of me in doing the thing which nature mandates, but I never wanted to face. I received all the benefits of drawing closer to my father because of my illness without ever having to watch him face the same fate. I have to believe God answered my prayer and let me stand in for my dad and allowed him to leave this earth untouched by an illness such as cancer, while still receiving all the benefits of the closeness such a diagnosis can inspire. A simple man of few words, he said, "I love you" to me more in our final year due to my illness than in the rest of my life combined. That treasure is a single example of what a gift cancer turned out to be, and resounding, irrefutable truth that God works all things for the good of those who love him. This is only one example of many that I have chosen to share today. I am but a tiny speck on the spinning ball floating through time, but I know God took the time to weave this part of my story and work all the things, all of them, for the good. In my second act, I'm committed to bearing witness to these mighty truths to others who find themselves in similar circumstances. And since I know you're wondering, the next Christmas after the cancer, my friends surprised me with my very own Elvis Presley remote-controlled Graceland at Christmas LED illuminated and musical porcelain snow globe that they got at the Kmart. And my future husband, well, he's still in the market for a better GPS system, since apparently he is too stubborn to ask for directions. But God also blessed me with a warm friendship begun in the Oncology Bar and Grill cocktail lounge with a handsome man I secretly called my chemo husband. Bearing witness to his courage in the face of a battle which ended so differently than mine, challenged me to begin my second act with an open heart and eager spirit. Every day we wake up is a shining new opportunity to look through Helen Keller's eyes and see only those things that make us grateful and do something, even the smallest something, to be somebody's reason to be grateful. Thank you for hearing my story. I hope something I have said today will encourage you to see the world like Helen and begin your second act today.